Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Kind of a cool day, gonna start getting colder. It's been a little cool the last few days, but gonna start getting a lot colder. Even calling for possibly some snow here Sunday morning. So nothing, I don't expect it to be of anything of any significance because then it says it's supposed to rain after that. So early morning snow followed up by rain, which will probably wash most of it away. But first snow of the season if it happens. But it doesn't look like a good chance probably north of us. So we might maybe get some, but probably not very likely. Just, it's the children are excited about it. They are excited. Even if they don't get to play in it. They just like to see the first snow of the year. Anyways, the world is getting crazy, this whole riot stuff going on in Ireland, it's just kind of weird. It's gotten pretty violent. The police are setting up observation towers throughout the city of Dublin. A lot of destruction. I mean, burning buses and police cars and looting places. They have a different way of rioting, and for some strange reasons, really, when you start to try to dig into it. They're rioting because they're upset that an immigrant did some violent things, stabbed some children and a teacher, which of course is certainly a reason to be upset. But then to retaliate or to protest against that, they burn in their own city. I don't know. There's also reports of immigrants in that same area also doing the same thing. It's a little muddy as a what is really going on there. But they have been allowing a lot of immigrants into their country over the last few years. So if you've seen any video coming out of Ireland over the last few months, it doesn't look very Irish anymore. Along with that, there's been a lot of protest in the United States today. New York City has had some pretty major pro-Palestinian protests. Most of it looks like that they're trying to disrupt the Black Friday shopping. They're out there, heckling shoppers and marching in the streets, trying to slow things down. And probably that's not the only reason it's slowed down, but the Black Friday shopping does look to be pretty slowed down. I mean, I've seen pictures. I saw one video of an Apple store when they opened, and you know how you've seen those in the past where they're, lined up outside and they open the doors and they're stampeding on each other and people are falling on the ground and getting stomped on and everything. There was one person out there, walked in casually, looked at this stuff. I've not seen any, too much at least, of any reports of people going crazy over the shopping because, well, people are poor. They don't have the money to go out and shop that kind of stuff. Today also, a bunch of numbers have come out on just the economy, and it's certainly not looking bad. Reverse repo is dropped the lowest it has in a single day in almost forever, which is a really bad sign. And even though I'm not the financial mind to fully understand and comprehend all of it. Basically, it's a quiet way that the banks have of bailing out, or the Fed has of bailing out the banks by buying back debt and stuff. And so it doesn't get front page of the news. It's bailouts in a quiet way, but it doesn't look good. Mortgage payments on homes right now are the highest they've ever been. Shopping, retail sales numbers from shopping is pretty low. It doesn't look good, folks. It just doesn't look good, and it's probably just going to get worse. Of course, lots of stories about food banks running out of food, and the holiday season's just getting started. They're begging for people to donate food, and people aren't donating it because they can barely afford food for themselves. So all that stuff is happening, and it's not looking very good. On the other hand, I wanted to pass along to you that my personal website is finally up and going. I've been working on this for a while, doing it all on my own, and I'm not the professional web designer by any means, so it's taken me a lot longer. I had one, and it just just needed to be changed, just needed to scrap it and do something different. So it's back up and going if you want to check it out. Still a lot that I'm going to be adding to it, but you can see the basics of it. That's thepreparedhomestead.com, thepreparedhomestead.com. And you can go there and see basically all the places you can find me online and where I post content and that kind of stuff. The very final thing I wanted to talk about, maybe, well, it may be nothing. Could just be absolutely nothing, but it could be something. There is a bug, a Wu flu of some sort going around in China. This could all just be fear porn, just to terrify everyone. But in the last probably 48 hours, it's kind of come out that there's this some kind of strange pneumonia of some sort going around in China. And they're saying that hospitals are just pouring, overflowing with people. There's pictures of, now we're used to this kind of stuff. Remember 3 or so years ago, we saw this kind of stuff happening. But anyways, I wanted to talk about it for just at least a few minutes because it could be something. It could be the next great thing. We've heard over the last 2 or 3 years from folks like Fauci and Gates and others that another pandemic's coming. And then the next one, they say, is going to be the big one. That this last one wasn't really that bad. No, really? We didn't notice that. I mean, the reaction to it was bad. But the actual disease, well, it was a little lackluster. But anyways, they have been telling us and warning us that it's going to get bad, that the next one is going to be the big deal. And then there's been certain things that's popped up over the last couple of years that a lot of people thought was going to be the big one, and then it kind of fizzled out to be nothing. And this may also be the same thing. But that does seem to be some type of upper respiratory illness that at this point, no one seems to know what it is, or at least they're not saying. The World Health Organization is saying that they're very concerned and they're wanting to get more information from China. And of course, China's doing what China does and saying it's not a big deal and not letting anyone know what's really going on, other than the PSYOP stuff that they're releasing, which of course is all the pictures of people in hospitals with masks. Again, it may be nothing, but it's certainly worthy of paying attention to for at least a while until we figure out. Now, I'm not saying go out and panic, right? I'm not saying go out and stock up on your masks or anything like that, because I don't know. Anyways, I really do. I think that we should always be cautious when we see stuff like this happen. Again, doesn't mean that we go out and, mortgage the house and go into max out the credit cards just to stock up on everything and then, a few weeks later realize what you've done. But we should always be, on guard, right? It's like I tell you how when you go out in public, you should always be armed. You should always be in a defense mindset. You should always have your head on a swivel, watching your six, being aware of your surroundings. Situational awareness should be something that you're doing all the time when you're away from the home, regardless of how bad things are. It just should be something normal to you. Same way with this kind of stuff. It doesn't mean that we go into panic mode, but we certainly should be aware of it, kind of keeping an eye on it, and, stocking up. Because, if it does happen, we want to be ahead of the curve. And of course, you should be stocking up anyway. So should you do more stocking up? I don't know. But you should be getting yourselves ready for the next one anyways. Because I'd say that at some point, the next one is going to hit. It's such a perfect tool for them to use. And I think we're getting close to being far enough away in time from the last one that people are forgotten. And, that's how Americans are. Some of you are going to say, no, people haven't forgotten that. Why? If something else happens, no, they're not going to remember it. That's just not how people are. People have already forgotten so many things. You've already forgotten so many things. So the next time something comes around and they start pushing the fear, it's very possible and likely that people will comply with it and comply with the fear and panic and all that kind of stuff. So we want to stay ahead of the curve, which means we have to keep an eye on stuff. Doesn't mean that we panic over it, but this one may be it. I mean, it's that time of the year anyways. That time of the year where people get the coffee coughs and the sniffles and all that kind of stuff. And to have one that is novel and could spread, and who knows if it's engineered or anything like that, it would be a perfect time period for it to happen, especially now that we are less than a year from an election. I mean, you know, it'd be like ordering something up on a silver platter and having it delivered, because that's exactly how it would be. So don't be too, you know, just ignoring it. Don't just pass it off as nothing. Don't panic, but don't just ignore it, because it could be something. A lot of things going on, and we have to always stay as ready as possible. I mean, yes, we have a life to live, but we certainly need to be just getting ourselves into a state of readiness, because that's really where we are right now. At least we should be, because we've been prepping for however long you've been prepping. You've been getting ready for it. You see the world worsening. You see things getting uglier. You see things getting crazier. And so we know that we are now, should be in a state of readiness, because at any moment things could happen, and then we need to be ready for them. So be doing that. Folks, you need to be getting your houses in order and preparing yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.